Good morning, everyone. Today I was going over this gift I got for Christmas. Just a simple investing magazine. Investing 10 rules of investing. As you see, a bunch of cash on the front. Now we'll erase the cash and see how it applies to Bitcoin. The 10 rules of investing. Does it still apply to Bitcoin? Number one is start now. The best time to stack a stat was 17 years ago. Second best time is now. That is equally important as fiat land as it is now in the new world order that Mark Carney says. That new world order is not aligning ourselves with China. It's adopting the Bitcoin standard. So sats are cheap. Sats are always going to be cheap. Best time to stack a sat is 17 years ago. And second best time is now. We'll start stacking. The economy does not equal the market. No. Bitcoin is on a different layer. It's a parallel layer. What you see out when you look on the news is manufactured. News manufactured by the media. And it is caused by separate cycles, separate system that runs parallel to the system that you see on the news. And often you see them parallel to the ones on that system. So what you see in the news, what you see on Bitcoin Twitter, that's totally different from how the actual network is growing, what actually matters. I forgot to mention that you find this out all interesting. Please like, subscribe, and wish to send me a few of your valuable sats. Yeah, Andre@risfall.com. If you find this all valuable, I'll go with the video. So perception of value of how the value sats may change on manufactured business cycle. So whatever Mark Carney says, or Xi Jinping, or Donald J. Trump, or Jerome Powell, it's all like just talking heads trying to make you afraid, make you believe in a business cycle. But what really matters is network adoption, number of people using Bitcoin, number of computers securing the network, number of companies building on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin payments. Remember, all this is parallel to the banking system, and booting up from zero. The growth is not seen. The growth is underneath the surface. Everyday people turning on Bitcoin one person at a time. So time is next one is time. Time is everything. Yes, it still applies. So time in the market trumps time in the market. Think of all the new AIs coming out, chat GPTs and whatever, OpenAI, Grok AI, or whatever it is called. You think you're going to have an edge on information on AIs that can scrape the whatever, scrape the market, scrape the data. They can see a trend way before you can. The best you can is to just put your value, try to increase your value over time, and stack those sats. listening to an interesting podcast from Elon last night. He says like AI is going to make pretty much all jobs non-existent within the next 3 years. So with that incredible deflation of money printing going on, how much will your stats be worse in 4 years? Just think of that. So stack sats for at least a 4-year time frame to set your outlook for as long as possible. So with the way things are going, AI, robotics, and whatever, they don't see all that value. Just makes all your sats that much more valuable. So, and always think of how to invest. Like your percentage of invest relates to your time frame, but not if you're retiring tomorrow. So you should use the Kelly criteria. See how much actual cash you actually need to survive the next 5 years, and always have like cash on hand. And so if you need at least $200,000, and making sure your next year have that $200,000 on hand in a fund, readily accessible cash. And so the Kelly criteria says that you should have 80-20. That's based on the Kelly criteria. Won't go into the math now, but if you have the Kelly criteria on your side, you should be good to use it. That should influence how much you are going to invest in Bitcoin and how much cash you have. It's a 2-asset combo. Number 4, aim for balance. Always, these pundits always ask you, what's the balance? Balanced portfolio, 60-40 stocks. 60 stocks, 40% bonds. This is like outdated, maybe 40 years ago. Bonds are going to zero. Now with stretch or whatever, sucking the value out of all bond markets. And pretty much that whatever, 100 trillion, whatever it is, will all go funnel into stretch and strategy and stride. And so now those are demonetizing. The bonds are demonetizing. So I would personally, no financial advice, but I'll take all my money out of the bond portfolios. Same with stocks. All that is demonetizing. The PE ratio is a thing of the past, and they're all severely overvalued. Look up all the top stocks. I just saw that now Google is the second most valuable company. Back when I was investing in Google, I have the PE 17. Now the PE is closer to 40. So it's extremely overvalued. So instead of having a new type of 60-40 portfolio, I would say always now is 80-20 portfolio. So 80% Bitcoin, 20% cash. And this is not cash in a bank account. It can be frozen on you. This is physical, hard cash that you can go and pay for goods in person when the bank shuts down. I know it might be a risk to you and your security setup, having 20% of your value in cold hard cash. But you can split it up. Say put 10% in a bank account and they freeze your account, or that goes to zero. That's that's acceptable reason of you lose. But it does put a target on your back. You have to up your security. Have that much cash around. So if you're not comfortable, you can keep it in a bank. But yeah, it can still be taken away from you. It might still be safer in your hands. You just don't flaunt it about. Risk is not having enough cash for expenses. So I always think of like have enough cash for expensive. Market goes down, lose your main source of income. At the same time, market drops. You might have to severely draw down your stack at the wrong time and risk getting yourself wiped out. So, Kelly criteria says 20% BTC, 20%, 80% BTC, 20% cash, sorry. And you should have a 6 months, 3 to 6 months emergency fund in cash, or and always you can rebalance these ratios at the end of each year, every 6 months, every month, whatever you are comfortable with, just to make sure you have the same amount. Bitcoin grows, you keep your cash equivalent. So know what you own and why you own it. So Bitcoin is now the greatest, or it'll keep on growing, and it's the greatest monetary asset. So keep studying Bitcoin, grow your conviction, focus on the signal, and don't listen to all the fun. All the fun is trying to get you to sell, get you to give your Bitcoin to all the institutional players. Next one is tame your animal spirits. So yes, you always have to have a consistent SaaS accumulation plan, consistent plan, or rather win in the long run, rather than overbuying with lots of hype and selling off with lots of fun. So just have a good animal spirit, have a good control on the animal spirit. Sorry. So better safe than sorry. Yes. In this one, it's always talking about margin calls. So yes, you're going to take a loan out against your Bitcoin. That is risky. So try to disconnect loans from your stack, a line of credit on your home. You can roll into your mortgage up there after 5 years or a period of time, or just a personal line of credit. So you don't have to be directly tied to your stack like a Bitcoin loan. But you also do Bitcoin loans, make sure not exceed the percent you can pay back a certain amount of time. It's just to manage your risk of margin calls. Always manage your risk. Know the risk of all assets while you're holding like stocks on a brokerage. It's not really yours. You don't hold the paper. You can't say we can hold the paper. Back when Warren Buffett was buying stocks and building his wealth, who'd actually hold actual paper copies? No one holds paper copies nowadays. So know the risk. What happens to give your money to a bank? When you give your money to a bank, that now becomes the bank's liability. So actually, they have a liability and it's your asset. So, but you're giving that way to control those funds to the bank. So that's one of your personal risks, being wiped out. But bail-in happens. The government just decides, oh, one day we need more funds. Well, let's do a bail-in and take all your money. Who cares? It's financially assured or FDIC or whatever that was called. They can just come and take it. Oh, we need this money for redistribution to whoever for whatever. They can just take it. So know your risk. Have money in the bank. might be taken from you any day. So that's why self-custody, self-personal, just making sure that money is safe is good. Making sure Bitcoin is safe and self-custody. Know how to store your keys, and know how to connect to the internet. Now you are the bank, and you have to have your wealth secured. And think of your own security. If you have a significant stack, even consider hiring yourself your own security guard or whatever. You have to be concerned and have your security and your wealth secure. Be a tax efficient investor. Yes, you always want to be tax efficient. Don't forget whatever the government got and has stolen or, or confiscated. So you want to minimize. Always minimize what taxes you have to pay. Not just taxes this year. Look how much taxes you're going to pay in the long term and try to minimize it. Many tax advantage strategies such as 401k matching increases the tax you pay in the long run, and you want to avoid this. So 20% capital gains versus 100% when you have taken off your income. That's why when it's 401k, because it's considered as your income, you want to try to minimize those. They dangle this carrot in front of your face, try to get you to invest in 401ks, RSPs in Canada here. But yeah, that's all just a strategy. Try to get you to give them more of your hard-earned sats in the end. So yes, but not in the strategy and what to invest. And you have to circle your wagons. Always be mindful of your security. Self custody is always evolving. So keep on track of the news, what's happening in self custody, what are the threats, with how AI is trying to steal your Bitcoin, have it evolving. And that's your new fee. That's your new management fee. Just your management and your own security. Even as higher, your stack is big enough, hiring your own security guards, hiring people. That should be always in the back of your mind. How can I keep my stack safe? Okay, thank you. These are the 10 rules of investing. Just a quick recap. Start now. Economy does not equal the market. So, yeah, best time to stack was 17 years ago. Second best time is now. Economy, like a market, no. Market's growing, but different parallel system to what you see in the news and media. Time is everything. So you can't beat the AIs on trying to time the market. So you might as well just put your time in the market. Aim for balance. So remember, try to balance out 60, not 60-40, it's 80-20. 80% Bitcoin, 20% cash. Know what you own and why you own it. So keep studying and growing your conviction in Bitcoin. Tame your animal spirits. So have a consistent SaaS accumulation plan and a goal. Better safe than story. So when taking out loans, try to disconnect from your stack, your personal line of credit, mortgage against your house. It'll be a lot more safer than having against your Bitcoin. But also, if you do take loans against Bitcoin, try to have it low as possible. Manage your risk. Know your risks with holding whatever kinds of asset. When you hold stocks, bonds, and brokerage is not yours. Same with cash in a bank, it's not yours. Hold your own keys. Not connect to internet. Be tax efficient. think of all the taxes, the whole long-term play. And always think long-term. Set it, but don't forget it. So you also have to be mindful of security and keep that top of mind. If you find this at all useful, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and also visit me under at Risk if you find it all interesting or feel like conversating with me. Thank you. See you next week.